Whoops.
This video of the unknown. What is it? Is it real? And what is it doing there?
Now they're speaking out, saying there are UFOs in U.S. airspace and they need to be taken seriously.
A family in Highland, Michigan believes their house is actually haunted and thinks something is harming their little girl. They're unidentified in U.S. airspace.
The U.S. Navy has finally acknowledged that videos appearing to show UFOs flying through the air are real.
I'm Todd Bates. I've been investigating the paranormal for years, yet still have no definite answers. Join me on this mysterious journey as we discuss all things paranormal, right down to the little gnomes. Why do millions experience these mysterious phenomenon, yet we have no proof? Welcome to Haunted Voices Radio, where I try and gather the pieces that may one day form yet another puzzle.
And good evening, one and all. Welcome, Haunted Voices Live, right here on Facebook and YouTube for now. Big announcement coming up here, folks. Holy cow, March 12th, 2024. Here we are. This is insane. This year has gone by so fast already. Spring is in the air. Welcome everybody. Tonight's going to be an amazing show. We've got EVP discussions we're going to do. We're going to talk about recording equipment, analog recorders, digital recorders, old school stuff that a lot of us have forgotten about or tossed to the wayside. So get those EVP questions. If you guys have been out there, later on, I'm going to post a link to come backstage. I want to hear some EVP stories, some captures you may have had. All that good stuff. I definitely want to talk about that. But first, I want to get a few hellos. We've got Megan here. We've got Courtney here. Of course, my beautiful, lovely, wonderful Sherry is here as well. I love that she's able to watch the shows. So hello, Ghostly Voices. Nicole Tito, she's going to be on next week. And Nicole, with that date, I had a scheduling error. Oh my goodness, it was a nightmare. I'm a horrible producer, folks. It's tough juggling all this stuff, but it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Hey, Resnick showed up. How you doing, my friend? Yeah, there's all kinds of cool stuff we're going to talk about tonight when it comes to EVP, but the announcement, we'll get to that in a second. Work's going great. I'm loving it. I'm learning a ton. There is a lot of numbers involved, a lot of things with semi trucks and lingo, but I'm getting it. I'm really enjoying the job, folks. It's really really good for Sherry and I. It's helping out a ton, and I can't thank you all for the support and all the fun stuff through this good stuff. But what I've been waiting to talk to you about, we're sitting here broadcasting on Facebook and YouTube, don't have a family to call our own. I made a little announcement this morning. If you guys saw it in the group and on my profile, and of course the Haunted Voices fan page, where we're going to be joining a station called the Sacred Spiral Network. Now, this station is owned by Miss Kelly Brickle, an amazing numerologist and psychic medium. And I was invited over there. Now, I've helped Kelly build the station. I built the website and everything over there at sacredspiralnetwork.com. I'll put let me put that in here real quick for you so you guys can check it out. You guys can go there, and there's all kinds of shows coming to the station. We've got Transcend with Debbie on there now. Of course, both of Kelly's shows. You guys remember those from WLTK, which I'm going to be talking about here in a second as well. The Numerology Hour and the Psychic Hour and the Psychic Hour Reading Show. All those air on there. A new one from Jennifer Rose is coming called Embracing Infinity. It's a fantastic program. All these shows are going to be great. And the beauty of it, I don't know how technology has just exploded. And there's ways to broadcast across multiple social media networks. So this show, hey Greg, how you doing, my friend? So this show is going to be broadcast on the same Facebook and YouTube that it is now, the Haunted Voices Facebook and YouTube. However, hi Deidre. However, it's also going to be added to the Sacred Spiral Network. So it's going to be broadcasting through the Sacred Spiral Network. So you really won't see any changes because we have those accounts added, ready to go for next week. Next Tuesday, Haunted Voices will be broadcasting from there. And you will see a logo down there in the lower corner. I want to know what you folks think. You know, as far as this show moving, it's always had a home somewhere, whether it was Pop Odyssey Radio Network with Stephen Wren back in the day. You know, it's always found a home somewhere. And after a lot of thinking, I wanted to push it out a little farther. This show has been around for so long, and it's bounced from here to there, and you can find scattered pieces of it all over the internet. It's nice to be attached and to be wanted by someone like Kelly on her station, and it's accepting shows as well. It's brand new. I have a huge part in the station. I do all the intros and all the fun graphics and the production work, the elements. I enjoy it. And it's accepting shows. So if you guys would like a show, you can just go to the website I posted there in the comments, and you will see how inexpensive it is to have a show of your own, have it fully produced for you, just like the old WLTK was kind of. I trained Kelly. She absorbed. Oh my goodness. This woman is doing the same work I used to do with these programs. She's producing them. She is putting her all in this and learning from my mistakes. So this is a team effort with Kelly and I. And of course, Debbie and the other host, new host, Jennifer. There's just it's a big family. And you guys know me and how I like the family kind of atmosphere. It's not corporate. It doesn't feel corporate. It feels like a place to settle, a place to get a message out to more people like yourselves. So you guys also have a soapbox to stand on and speak through it as well. Whether you're a guest on the show or you come backstage whenever I put the link up, however, you're a part of the show. So you're a part of this just as much as I am. If it wasn't for all of you, I'd be sitting here with my thumb up my butt. So it's good that you guys are here. I appreciate all your support. Hi, the Ghost Magnet's here. Hi, John. Michelle. So good to see all you folks. So that's the big news. I mean, we're going to start next Tuesday over there. And our first guest on the station is going to be Nicole Tito. I did have Staticom booked for the 19th, but it was double booked. I already had Nicole booked, so I will get them rescheduled. The early spots I have open for Staticom to come in honor June, but we're going to get them in here and talk with Ron and Cherie and Tony and Lourdes and talk about the Staticom project and white noise, which we'll touch on a little bit tonight too during the old school show here tonight. But they're going to be coming on. We got a lot of great guests coming up. I'll get to those here as well. But tonight we're going to focus on electronic voice phenomena, old school. You know, ITC and EVP have been separate for so long. And we need to come closer together with it, bridge that gap a little bit, maybe use both forms to communicate more. I know a lot of folks still use EVP methods, which is electronic voice phenomenon. Different devices. They could be digital recorders. They could be analog recorders like reel to reel or magnetic tape or micro cassette. Any of those. All of those are fun. And we're going to touch on each one of those as well tonight and take your questions, get some people back here that have some experience. Like we have Greg Koss listing. He's like an ITC king. And I would love to hear the comparisons between the two worlds. The likes, the dislikes, the pros, the cons, all these things I want to discuss tonight because communication is communication. At the end of the day, when we ask a question to one of these spirits, we would prefer an answer, whether it be short, maybe half a sentence, maybe a muttered sentence, maybe an inaudible sentence. Either way, it's some kind of communication. They are breaking through whatever they have to come to us, to get into our realm, our world, our environment. And we're trying to get into their environment. So there's a lot of tricky things that we're going to cover here tonight. So hopefully you guys have your questions, your comments, because I'll open up the backstage link here in a little while. Right now, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to get into it. The equipment needed in EVP recording. All that coming up on Haunted Voices. You folks stay tuned. 11 minutes past the hour. You folks just tuning in. You're watching Haunted Voices right here on Facebook and YouTube. I'm your host, Todd Bates. Tonight, we're talking about electronic voice phenomenon. In general, old school, if you will. We're going to be discussing some equipment, recording methods, and I just want to say hello to a few people that came in. Hello, Karen. Great to see you. Glad you can come. Glad you can stop by. There's going to be a lot of feedback from you folks, hopefully tonight. A lot of questions. This may be a refresher course for a lot of you, but I think no matter how experienced you are, it's always good to have a good refresher course on some of these methods because they're tried and true. They've worked in the past. We've depended on them in the past. We've really relied on them in the past. And I'd like to see it continued. I mean, I still use these methods. Sherry's old school like I am when it comes to investigating. She uses her dowsing rods and things of that nature. These are genuine things that have been proven for thousands of years that have worked, that have been effective tools in communication by some of the greats. Frederick Jurgensen, that's how it all started, folks. This fine man, he was a filmmaker, and he was out recording some simple bird calls on his reel-to-reel recorder, and he gets an EVP from his own mother. He recognizes the voice. Frederick, can you hear me? Of course, he becomes obsessed with this and tries to find other ways to communicate with her and with others. Konstantin Raudiva tried using crystal diodes and things of that nature to amplify back in the day. A lot of these magnetic devices, such as reel-to-reels, then magnetics that came. Hi, Jessica. Hi, Michael. And then the magnetic recorders that came later in the 70s and so forth, the cassette recorders. So many people have experimented with these older devices and have captured such great evidence with them. And that's the beauty of recording on magnetic is, I think, me personally, and I want to hear your opinion on this. When a voice is captured on a magnetic tape, what do you think attracts it? And I want to hear some opinions pop up. Hi, Claudine. I want to hear some opinions pop up here in the comments. What do you think helps that voice stick to that magnetic tape? Do you think it's magnets? Or do you think it's static electricity? One or the other. Which one do you think it is? The magnetism of it, or the static electricity from it going across the head? These are the mysteries that surround electronic voice phenomena and frustrate a lot of people, but also make people like myself become overly obsessed with it, because there's so much going into a recording that most people don't think about. You know, you're in a known active location. It's quiet, which you want a nice quiet setting. You get out your old shoebox recorder. You put in a fresh tape. You close the lid. You put that in the center of a bed, or maybe on a nightstand somewhere. You attach an external microphone to that so you don't record the magnetic noise, that the gear noise and so forth. You'll capture that as well, which can be filtered out later if you do happen to do that. But it's best to attach an external microphone. I've made the mistake out in the field myself. You attach an external microphone to that. Those are inexpensive, or a digital recorder. But we're talking about the magnetics and the energy of a cassette recorder. So you take it, you have that in there. You've got your external microphone ready. It's to the side. Got your recording device, say 2-3 feet from the microphone, so it doesn't pick up any ambient noise. And you begin asking questions. But what questions do you ask? That's the big thing. I want to hear, first of all, some questions you folks would ask, some of your favorite questions, some that you feel get more results than others. Post those if you would, because we'll use those as examples. But you take these questions. For example, the most popular one: what is your name? Everyone has a name, usually. What is your name? You don't spout these things off one after another, after another, after another. Give them a chance. It could be very difficult for them to manifest the energy, or lower the vibration, or higher the vibration enough to speak. So give them time. Give them a moment. What is your name? And look around as you're saying it, because you're addressing them. Someone, you just can't see them. So you want to break the ice with the spirit there. Hi, Sally. Welcome all the way from Houston. You want to get used to the environment you're recording in. If you're in a bedroom, you have a very dim light, or maybe even just a flashlight. You want to get used to the area that you're in. Free your mind, open your mind, and then allow these questions to come naturally and freely, the best you can. Don't sit there with a sheet of paper. What's your name? Where are you from? How'd you die? Did it hurt? Was it bloody? Was it tragic? What's your mom's name? You don't do that, folks. If that was me, I'd walk out of the room. These people were human beings, okay? And they deserve the same respect. And you want to talk to them the same way you would as if you were talking to a new person you're meeting on the street, or, going over their home, because you're in their home 9 times out of 10. Hi, Linda. You're in their home 9 times out of 10. So respect the space and ask those questions. What's your name? Do you have a favorite color? Give some time in between there. Now keep these sessions to 3 to 5 minutes. Don't fill the whole tape. You'll worry about that later. Don't fill the whole tape. Ask the question. Give a moment of space. Ask another. Get 3 minutes filled. Now you're wondering, okay, I have a cassette tape. Everybody has a computer these days, pretty much. How do I get that information from that cassette tape onto that computer? Because this cassette recorder is ancient. The computer isn't. That's simple too. 9 times out of 10, all of your computers are going to have either a headphone jack or a line-in jack. Most of them are going to have 3 ports on the back of your computer or laptop. They'll be different colors: red, yellow, blue. Or they would be red and blue. Either way, you're going to have one of those jacks. Now you can find these are so easy to find now. Back in the day, we'd have to track them down and get the brass coated ones, and the audio patch cables, they're called. Nowadays, they're a dime a dozen. They're just both male ends. You put one in the cassette recorder or digital recorder, because it's always best to upload your recordings raw, not to use the USB that comes with it, raw. Because a USB can compress it and you may miss a few things, see? So you get that cable. It's probably $2-3. Plug one in there. If you guys need any help setting that up, gladly reach out to me and I'll do that for you. But you connect it to the computer. Now, you can use several different audio programs. Me personally, I use one called Adobe Audition. There is several free ones out there now, hundreds of them, that will record the file when you plug it in and play it. Save room for dessert. But there's plenty of space on your computer for these recordings on the cassette as well. They're going to come through raw. So it's not like going to hold up a massive amount, but they're going to be larger files than a USB file would be for you. So I know a lot of you folks like everything quick. You want to plug and play, there it goes. But with electronic voice phenomenon, especially magnetic tape, it's always best to take it slow, take it piece by piece. I mean piece by piece, because it's not like a digital recording. It's an analog recording. So you want it to be as raw and as real as possible. Your recording shouldn't be tainted. You shouldn't have any background noise. There shouldn't be investigators behind you saying, "Did you hear that? Oh my goodness, what was that? Did you smell that?" Mm-mm. You want to note those things privately, okay? Everybody's got a little flashlight. Everybody should have an ink pen. Everybody should have a notepad. Write those things down. Heard so-and-so. Try to get the time. Smelled so-and-so when this question was asked. Don't say them out loud. You don't have to. Now, if you do, you want to note it, because you don't want to mistake that for something else later, and you will, because you will forget every instance during your recording. Trust me, you won't remember what you said. You won't remember what you heard. So you want to note everything verbally. If a car goes by, for example, note car. If a dog barks, note barking. These are things you want to note later so you don't have any false positives. Because trust me, they will be unmistakable in the recording that they are false positives, because there's differences in that, which is a whole other show. But just know with your recordings to keep them fresh, keep them documented. You want as much documentation with your data as possible, because you want to know where you were at, what time it was, what were the weather conditions, what were the solar conditions, the lunar conditions. I mean, for example, we have a huge eclipse coming up here, April 8th. It's going to be massive. I have to work. However, that would be an excellent time to get out there and do some recording. Who knows what could happen? There's supposed to be a lot of solar activity. You know, when those rays are bouncing off of our planet, it creates a lot of disturbances in the veil, a lot of rips in the veil. These are ways to get through to the other side. So you want to take advantage of these ways. And just make sure you have your ducks in a row. You keep it simple, keep them down to 3 to 5 minutes. And that's how you do an analog recording. I mean, it's the easiest form of spirit communication other than a Ouija, which in my opinion, they're both the same. Honestly, I'd love to hear your opinions. I think a Ouija is a communication device, just like any other communication device. If properly used, it works well. If you're a dumbass, you're going to get hurt. You know, I mean, that's the story of the Ouija. That's the way it works. It's a communication tool. So do these sessions in the haunted location. Keep them simple. There's different methods you can do, different recording methods. The one I just explained is called the stationary method. You're setting it down, you're asking questions, or you're walking away and letting it record on its own. Either way, that is a stationary method. You can do a question and answer method that 3 to 5 minutes, like we talked about. You can do a walking method. Now, I stress when I say walking method, do not walk with the recorder. For the love of everything holy, do not walk with a cassette recorder or a digital recorder. You're going to pick up footsteps, noise, leaves crunching, wood creaking. So many different false positives are going to come in there. Your entire recording is going to be tainted. The walking method, when used properly, what you do is walk to an area in that room or in that cemetery, perhaps, or on that haunted lot somewhere. You want to walk and then stop and then record. Do a brief session. Do a burst of questions. Keep them down to maybe 5. Walk to another area and another area. Now, to eliminate some of this walking, I suggest you and your team utilize a medium. I really do. Can't say so enough. They can help guide you in the right direction. They can see and sense things that people like myself and a lot of other EVP researchers cannot. Use them as a guide. Don't be afraid of them. Don't say, well, that's not scientific. The hell it's not. Neither is what you're doing. You're talking to thin air. Explain the science in that. Open your mind. Use what is available to you. If a medium comes in and says, you know, I think if you ask them about their favorite fur coat, you may get a response because they're talking and showing their fur coat to me. Okay, there you go, folks. There's an idea. And you just had some guidance. Swallow your pride. Use a medium. I don't know why they're not being used enough. Sherry's sensitive. I love taking her on investigations. She picks up things I cannot. Now, you know, is she a medium? No, she's very empathic. And a lot of us are very empathic, our gut feelings. Use those gut feelings. If you have a gut feeling to ask a certain question, no matter how silly you think it sounds, ask the damn thing because you're being drawn to do so. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid out there. There's enough to be afraid about. We have living all around us. Don't fear the dead. Everything's going to be okay with them. You know, there's yes, it does, Nicole. Now there's the different sides to this. It's a dual-edged sword when it comes to analog versus digital. It's always going to be some kind of conflict, some kind of disagreement. Use your own judgment. Use what works for you. If you feel inclined that you need to lug around a huge reel-to-reel recorder that is expensive, yes, but very effective, use it. If you have the means, or if you have one, your grandparents have one that are sitting in the attic, use it. You're going to get some of the most amazing captures, and different captures than digital. Digital, you're going to get more, yes, but they're going to be Class C's, Class B's at best. Broken up sentences, fragmented sentences. A good Class A recording comes from analog 9 times out of 10. It really does, because there's no distortion behind it. It's clear as day. It's agreeable by up to 4 people. You know, you ask 4 of your peers without suggesting to them what it says. And then pow, you have this Class A EVP recording captured on a cassette that you have a copy of as well. It's not digital where, oh, I erased it. It's on cassette. Now you can record over it, but you never do that with EVP recording anyway. Always use a fresh cassette. Always use one side. One side. Side A or side B, it doesn't matter. Just use one side. But you have that information. You have that data. You know where you were. You have your location, your weather condition, all the other conditions. And now you've got a Class A EVP that's unmistakable because you took the time to go the extra mile, to do the extra legwork and research out there that a lot of people still won't do. You know, there is some expense to it at first, but Sherry found me one at a secondhand store. It's freaking incredible. Best one I've ever used. And the cassette tapes, they were right there with it, blank. Now, these weren't high fidelity tapes, of course. Those are hard to find and very expensive, but they were recording tapes nonetheless. And they have a little bit of white noise on the back of them as well to help as a carrier. You know, that's another thing we're going to talk about with Staticom. They use EVP or white noise as a carrier as well, or something to that effect. That's going to be an amazing conversation coming up. But you know, it has that steady white noise underneath. Hi, Michael, that you can use. So I'm curious, now that we've kind of gone over some EVP 101, I'm curious as what some of you fine folks think. How you got, let me get this set for you. How you got started with EVP, some successful captures. Hang on here. And we're going to take another short break. And I just put the backstage link for all you folks. I want to hear some veterans, some new people coming on here talking about their captures, their methods, their protocols, what they've done, what they don't do, what they suggest, because this is EVP is a dying breed. It's a dying breed. Let's keep it alive. Let's keep researching. Let's keep collecting that data. It's important. And hopefully some of you folks come backstage here, pop up, and we'll sit down and talk about some EVP and what it's all about and your side of it. Good stuff. Stay tuned. Repetitive commercial coming up here, folks. We'll be right back. More Haunted Voices on the way. Bottom of the hour. Welcome back. More haunted voices here for you folks. Those of you just joining us, we're having our EVP discussion show tonight. And I sent out the invitation for everyone in the comments on YouTube and Facebook to join me up here. That could just come on backstage. If you have used a reel-to-reel recorder, Michael, I want to hear about it, my friend. Come on backstage. I want to hear about this. And feel free to come back if you guys have any questions. If you have any stories you want to share, any kind of EVP captures you want to share that really stand out in your mind, and the differences that you guys feel on EVP versus ITC methods. Which would you use? Which would you go to? They're both great. They're both fantastic. Which one do you lean toward? Are you in the middle with both? Do you weigh more toward EVP? Do you weigh more toward ITC? I'd like to know about that. If you could just put it in the comments too, that way I can check them later, because this is information I need to know. But I do want to take a second and read something. This made me cry. And boy, did it bring back some memories earlier when I was checking the Haunted Voices fan page on Facebook. Paranormal Reason writes, due to the time difference, I'm sadly unable to make this. However, will the show be available at a later date on the usual platforms? Of course, it will be YouTube, Facebook. As an aside, I was only having a conversation with a fellow researcher yesterday who was interested in starting his own journey with EVP analysis, and I was only too pleased to send him copies of the educational PDFs you produced some 20 years ago, as they are just as relevant today as they were 20 years ago. That brought tears to my eyes. That made me feel a huge smile came to my face. I was so humbled by that. And I'd asked them, please, could you email me those PDFs, because I lost them over the years and I would still like to use them. They're very thorough. They're articles, very thorough articles, how-to articles, even how to process your audio using Adobe Audition, those as well. So hopefully those will come in. Okay, let's get to some comments here. Okay, Courtney is asking, what frequency is an EVP? Just thinking. That's a great question, Courtney. And it varies. Most are going to be on that 20 hertz range. Others are going to fall below 20 hertz, which is going to be your infrasound. And then you're going to have it above, which is going to be your ultrasound. Those two types of sounds aren't audible by the human ear, and a lot of researchers believe that's how those are captured, are on those different wavelengths. And with a program like Adobe Audition, you can see those. I call them spirit vocal prints. An EVP looks much different on a spectral view. It looks much different than a human vocal would. A human vocal is going to have vibrations, or they almost look like fossils within. If you zoom in, they look like fossils because our voice box is vibrating. However, a spirit vocal print is more of a blotch, okay, a solid blotch. It doesn't vibrate or vocalize or anything like that. It's just a blotch. And you could see it on the spectral view if you're looking at it correctly. And normally those are going to register anywhere between in the infrasound, ultrasound. If they're very pronounced, they will be within the 20 hertz range, and an investigator would be able to hear it as it was being captured if they were tuned in and listening to it. So that's around the hertz range for that, Courtney. Hopefully that helped with your question. And Michael says here that his first EVP was recorded on a reel-to-reel in 1978. Bless you, brother. Kudos to you, my friend. Oh my goodness. Now see, that's cool to use those. Sarah Estep, my mentor, God rest her soul, religiously used those Reel-to-reel recorders every morning. She talked to spirit. Every single morning she would ask questions and how they were, where are they at, all kinds of different things. And she would capture some great responses on a reel-to-reel recorder back in the 70s, 80s, mid 90s. And then she kind of retired from it a little bit. But she's a go-getter. She was a go-getter for sure. Now with Karen, she's saying mine was captured when me and my ex was asleep. My handicapped son called. His dad didn't answer because we had been packing to move all day. The EVP was picked up on his dad's voicemail. Freaked me out. I was a little girl. Yes, Karen. That happens a lot with telephones, the old landlines especially. Now, I don't know as much with cell phones, but I know the old landlines, some of those phones are still haunted to this day, and they'll just ring and they're not attached to a landline. So all kinds of crazy things can happen like that. But to have one leave a voicemail, what do they do, folks? I mean, come on, you investigators out there, they love to manipulate electronics, and they find a way to do so. I don't know how. We don't know how, but they do. And they get in there and they can leave a voicemail, leave a message on an answering machine. The old magnetic tape answering machines especially would get a lot of these messages. So that's a good story. That's a good story. And then Resnick saying he likes doing EVP sessions, but I'm starting to enjoy ITC. Good. So you'll learn both. And ITC is more real time. Real time's good because we get impatient out there in the field. We do. And he said he just sent, and sure, we can play that. Let me see if I can set that up here. See where he sent it. I don't know if he sent it to my email or Messenger. Sorry, folks. Live shows, that's the way it is. Okay, I'm going to try and play this. Hopefully you folks can hear it. It's 6 seconds long. This is what something Resnick captured. I'll play it again. Now, let me know if you guys heard that for one thing. And what I heard was it sounded like female, like middle-aged, 20s maybe, somewhere around there. That's what it sounded like. Just, I couldn't make out what she was saying. But yeah, I know the volume's a little low. But Resnick, if you could email that to me, toddbates@gmail.com. I can see if I can load it up in here before we leave. toddbates@gmail.com. And I can load it up in StreamYard and see if we can play that, because that's a great capture. That is a great capture. Yeah. And Megan heard it but couldn't make it out. Oh my goodness, Mary Beth Yoon's in the house. Hi, hon. How you doing, Mary? Mary's an old school EVP, just like I am. If you want to come on backstage, Mary, and talk about your EVP adventures for a little few minutes, the link's up there in the comments for you. It'd be great to have you and talk to you for a little while. But while we're waiting on Resnick to get that packaged up, I was going to load a few examples, but I've really played them a lot over the years, folks. I've run them in the ground. One of these shows will have a show and tell, and I'll play a few more of them. But there's, yes, Michael, and that may be a child as well that was captured in that res. And those are the kind of EVP you get, especially on analog. You'll get captures like that, to where on digital you may not capture anything at all. You could have a digital sitting right next to it, and you won't capture it, and it'll frustrate you. You'll wonder why. How can that sound be on a magnetic tape but not on my digital recorder with such a sensitive microphone? They work two different ways, folks. A magnetic tape works with magnetics, static electricity kind of situation, as to where a digital recorder works with sample rates. So it's computerized. It's a chip. and it works with the sample rates. So they may not be able to manipulate that as simple. But Resnick sent the file over because I want to, for sure, load this up in StreamYard so you guys can have a better listen, because it'll amplify for you in here. Okay, we'll put that in here. Okay, now I'm going to play it. Let me know what you guys think. I'll play it a few times for you. This is from Resnick, by the way.
Oh no, Tyler. Oh no, Tyler. Oh no, Tyler. Oh no, Tyler. Oh no.
You see, to me, it sounds like a woman crying out. Crying out to come, or to, it sounds like somebody's trying to get your attention. It's like they can see you. That's incredible. That's an incredible capture, Resnick, right there. That's wow. Let us out so we can eat. That's what Sherry hears. Let us out so we can eat. And then Ghostly Voices, Nicole says, I hear a female. Let us know what you hear. And that's what she's asking. That's what she thinks it says. And that's the thing with EVP. So I would classify that as a class B EVP. Because we've had it, we've played it for our peers and everybody's hearing different things. So it would be a B. And that's okay. That's a good B. That's a damn good B. And you have class C's that are those whispers and so forth that you just can't decipher. Different classifications, which Sarah Estep did develop. Never forget that woman, folks, please. Without her, we wouldn't have the ABC system. She developed that, every bit of it. The AAEVP was her child. It was a learning center for electronic voice phenomenon that she founded. Those are things that go to the wayside, and all that research and data is lost and turned into something else. Don't let it die. Don't let this old school method, this tried and true method that has been proven to be effective by a lot of researchers, don't let it die. Keep it alive. Use ITC. Oh my God, by all means, use ITC. Real time. Those spirit boxes, I have one myself. Use them. But don't forget about the other stuff that we haven't been able to figure out yet that we know works. Let's use that out there. And I want to thank you, fine folks, from the bottom of my heart for taking the time out to watch the show tonight, to kind of sit here and discuss with me electronic voice phenomenon. We got some great guests coming up here for you folks. We're going to talk about EVP and all kinds of cool stuff. Coming up next week, March 19th, we've got author Nicole Tito. We're going to be talking about EVP and ITC, her latest book. We're going to get down and dirty with that good stuff. It's going to be a blast. Coming up March 26th, investigator, filmmaker Michael LaCiana is going to be joining us. We're going to talk about his show on Amazon Prime, Journeys Through the Past. Be sure and check that out. And his research techniques, his protocols, EVP, and he's going to tell us a story about that reel-to-reel recorder from the 70s. Oh, yeah. Now, coming up in April, of course, we have Barnaby Jones coming on. Stephanie Lynn, Spirit Sensitive, is going to be joining us. The Others Side Paranormal team will be coming on as well. And the one and only Joe Frankie, who worked with Ed and Lorraine Warren, he's going to be joining us in April. So much stuff coming up. Now, remember, next week, we are going to be on Sacred Spiral Network. So you can watch us the same way you are tonight. We will still be broadcasting on all the platforms. It's just we're going to be with a new station, the Sacred Spiral Network. Be sure to check them out, sacredspiralnetwork.com. and give Kelly a huge pat on the back for developing such an amazing station with a great group of people. So it's been amazing, and I love sitting here with you all. Thank you so much. If you have any questions or stories, reach out to me, toddbates@gmail.com. Visit my website, toddmichaelbates.com, if you want to contact me. All kinds of fun stuff. You guys have fun. Stay safe. Have a great week. We'll see you next week with author Nicole Tito. Have a good night, folks.
Yeah.